Yo, you're watching the Screaming Fish here, people, and today I finally have my review of Avengers Assemble. So, without further ado, let's get into my review of Avengers Assemble. I've said that twice. So, when Thor's evil brother Loki, played by Tom Hiddleston, gains access to the unlimited power of the energy cube called the Tesseract. Nick Fury, played by Samuel L. Jackson, director of S.H.I.E.L.D., initiates a superhero recruitment effort to defeat the unprecedented threat to the Earth. Joining Fury's dream team are Iron Man, played by Robert Downey Jr., Captain America, played by Chris Evans, the Hulk, played by Mark Ruffalo, and Thor, played by Chris Hemsworth, and the Black Widow, played by Scarlett Johansson, and Hawkeye, played by Jeremy Renner. Did I say that with a straight face, or I don't know? So, as usual, we shall start off with our characters. We've got Captain America, who is still just as likable as he was back in the first movie, and plus we get to see him interact with Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. And in most scenes where they're both together, the scenes where they're interacting each other both reference and set up for the upcoming Captain America Civil War. Black Widow and the Hulk are obviously in love, which I don't mind, but that's not the interesting part. The interesting part is that Mark Ruffalo is surprisingly 10 times better playing the Hulk than What's-His-Face ever was in The Incredible Hulk. While Hawkeye didn't have much to do in the film, he is a pretty cool character, but Loki, on the other hand, is the best villain we've seen in the MCU so far. He's intimidating, villainous, and sometimes even scary, and pretty much what all the previous Marvel villains and in the future should have been. And he makes every attempt to make our heroes hate each other, which is something the other villains before him should have done, and even in the future films. And he's properly developed. That's something he's the first villain, and yeah, he's one of the only two villains that are properly developed in this whole franchise. So the story, I must say, is very well written, particularly in the first part of the film where the team is first brought together and how they interact. As for the action, though, wow, this movie has explosions that Michael Bay would want to. This movie has explosions that Michael Bay would want to smooch for 24 hours in a hippie van. The final battle is one of the coolest action sequences I've ever seen, and the CGI and all of it is amazing. When I first saw the helicarrier on the screen for the first time, I was amazed. Just simply amazed. But probably the best and funniest action sequence in this film is Iron Man versus Thor fight. Sure, it was cool to see Thor fight the Hulk, but when he's fighting Iron Man, stuff gets blown up, and to top it off, Captain America's shield is now surprisingly more powerful enough to block an attack from Thor's hammer. Not to mention the director Joss Whedon's sense of humor, which blends in perfectly into the film. I'm serious, this film is a genuinely funny movie to watch, and it makes it even more fun to watch, basically. But like all movies, I still have issues with it. For starters, there are a few plot holes, like how can Thor go back to Earth and not go back into Earth into his own film, go back to Earth in his own film because he destroyed the portal thingy, and yet somehow he now can. How can Bruce Banner control the Hulk and then cannot control the Hulk, and then all of a sudden now he can? And also, the film often pauses to let out a joke in a really dramatic scene, just to lighten up the mood. I'm not against this, but not all the jokes actually land, and sometimes they're not very funny. But those are just a few nitpicks. In the end, this is a brilliant film, and sure, it's not perfect, but it is one of Joss Whedon's best films, and I highly recommend you watch it. This film gets a 9 out of 10 from me. This is the first MCU movie review that I've done that goes over 8. Yeah. So, boys and girls and ladies and gentlemen and elders, I do hope you enjoy this, and I will indeed see you in the future. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be reviewing Marvel Phase 2. Yeah. Okay, I'll see you then. Bye. Subscribe.